What's up guys, Jab here, back with a brand new Warzone mobile video. This one is a follow-up to both videos that I actually made in the last couple of days. In one of those videos with Warzone Mobile, we talked about how they announced that they were ending support for over 4,000 mobile devices going forward with that November 14th update that is supposed to include, the Black Ops 6 integration and stuff. And then yesterday we also made another video talking about what to expect in that update. This video is going to be a follow-up to both of those, basically talking about something that I didn't really expand upon enough in those videos, but it's something that is going to be super important going forward with Warzone Mobile. So like we mentioned, we went over the list of all of the unsupported devices now that Warzone Mobile will no longer be supporting, and the number is in the 4,000 range. So there are over 4,000 devices now that will not be supported with Warzone Mobile going forward after that November 14th update. We talked a little bit about it and we looked at some of the devices, but yeah, there is just so many. A lot of these are low-end devices. Of course, I got a lot of comments basically saying that like this won't affect many people because it's on such low-end devices and stuff, but the real reality is that this is actually affecting a lot more than just low-end devices. This is affecting some mid-range devices, older flagships, even some higher end devices from like just the last 2, 3, or 4 years. So going back to their little announcement here, obviously they mentioned that your device is going to need to have bindless texturing. That's a feature that your GPU is going to need to be able to utilize going forward with Warzone Mobile. But the other requirement that they mentioned is you're going to need at least Android 13 or higher. That is a major thing that, again, I didn't expand upon enough because there are a lot of devices that do not have Android 13 and won't get Android 13, but they still have very good specs. There are devices, for example, things like the ROG Phone 3, which is a gaming phone. It is an older gaming phone, but it's still a gaming phone. It can have up to I think 16 gigs of RAM or something like that. That one's not getting Android 13, so that gaming phone is now cut off. Other gaming phones, for example, the Red Magic series, you can no longer use the Red Magic 5 series, the 6 series, or even the 7 series with Warzone Mobile now. It doesn't matter that the 7 Pro has a Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. It doesn't matter that it has up to like 16 gigs of RAM or whatever. The fact that it doesn't have Android 13 makes it a device that is no longer compatible with Warzone Mobile. Again, when we talked about this list here, I got so many comments of people saying that it was only going to affect super old Android phones and stuff like that, but that's not the truth. Yes, a lot of these devices are older low-end devices, or just older devices in general and stuff like that. But again, there are a lot of devices that only get like 2 years of updates or 3 years of updates, which means they will not fit this Android 13 requirement anymore. And again, just some of the ones that are not going to be getting it, things like the Red Magic series up to the 7 Pro, things like the Asus ROG series up to the ROG Phone 3. Samsung has been affected by this as well. So those are devices that are still really good. They're not top of the line, of course, but they're still good. But they're not going to be getting Warzone Mobile support going forward. Now, the reason why I wanted to expand upon this is because I think people are not looking towards the future of what doing this can kind of lead to, I guess, in the future. So right now, obviously, we're like 6-7 months into the release of Warzone Mobile's global release, and this is already happening. They've already cut off support for 4,000 devices. They're already limiting the amount of devices that will be able to play the game, and this is just 6 months in. What happens a year in when the game inevitably gets even more complicated and even more demanding? We have to remember, I mentioned this in my video yesterday, they're now tying themselves more to Call of Duty Warzone and not really the mainline games too much. It seems like they're going really with that Warzone synchronization going forward, and Warzone is a demanding game. Warzone has only gotten more and more demanding over time. I mean, the original Warzone, back with Modern Warfare 2019, that was released with the PS4 in mind, and it ran pretty well on the PS4. But now if you play Warzone on PS4, it's not the best. Like it does not run that well. They're really pushing the limits to what devices they support and stuff, and I wouldn't be surprised if with Call of Duty 2025 or maybe even Call of Duty 2026 they just completely drop last gen console support. And with that means that they're going to be focusing on newer, better devices, newer PCs, as well as things like the PS5, Xbox Series. And with that, I imagine the mobile version, because it is synchronized now with Warzone, I imagine that the system requirements are only going to get higher going forward from here. again, this is just like a you know, 6 months in. Basically, they couldn't handle optimizing the game for lower end devices, so they just decided to cut them off entirely. People think like, okay, this is it, now the game is going to be, you know, super big or whatever, but there's no telling if this is going to happen again in a year when Call of Duty 2025 comes out and when a new version of Warzone is out. There's no telling what's going to happen going forward, and if these minimum system requirements are just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, because they're not addressing the core issue, which is optimization. They're just making it so that only specific devices can play. I definitely could be wrong, but that's just kind of where I'm at right now. Seeing this, it doesn't really inspire confidence that, you know, going forward now they're going to be able to handle Warzone Mobile on devices and stuff like that. It definitely doesn't give me confidence, and now it just brings up that question where it's like, okay, well, this is happening 6 months in to the release. What happens in another 6 months? What happens in a year? What happens 3 years into Warzone Mobile's release? Is the game just going to continuously get more and more and more demanding, and are they going to continue to take support off for older devices and stuff? Your device right now might make this cutoff and be able to play Warzone Mobile, so you might not be affected by this whole issue, and you might be happy because you can still play Warzone Mobile. But who knows, maybe in a year your phone won't be compatible anymore. Maybe in 6 months your phone might not be compatible anymore, and I highly doubt that people are going to be going out spending $500, $600, $700, $800 plus just to be able to get a new phone that can play Warzone Mobile, when for that price you can just go and get a PC. You can just go and get a console and play the full version of Warzone with way better graphics, way better frame rates and stuff like that. We have to remember, the reason why games are popular on mobile in the first place is because of accessibility, because anyone who has a mobile device can be a mobile gamer. Anyone can go ahead and play. And the fact is that Warzone Mobile is not that. Warzone Mobile has continuously been a game that only the very high end of devices can actually play comfortably, and now it's going to be even worse in that regards. And that is exactly why the player base has dwindled to a very, very small amount of players compared to what Call of Duty Mobile has. And that's also why Warzone Mobile has made very, very, very little money compared to pretty much any other mobile game. So we're going to see what ends up happening with this, but yeah, this whole thing, I think, you know, it's not really a good sign, even though some people do think it is. I think it is very worrying that devices like the Red Magic 7 Pro will no longer be supported, and it just makes me think like, damn, where are we going to be in like a year from now or whatever, you know? But that's it for this video, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And with all of that being said, thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.